Item Number SCP-1258 Object Class Euclid Special Containment Procedures. All materials relating to SCP-1258 are held in a locked document cabinet in Site-19, with access restricted to Clearance Level 4 and above. Any organisms showing any effect of practicing SCP-1258 should be considered an instance of SCP-1258 and terminated immediately unless part of an approved experiment. Standard Foundation searches for anomalous animal activity should be cross-referenced with SCP-1258 markers. Description: SCP-1258 is a martial art of unknown origin. Currently, the Foundation has in its possession enough material and varying media to reconstruct several basic forms used to teach beginners, but little information on more advanced forms. SCP-1258-1 is any organism which has the knowledge and capability of practicing SCP-1258 independently. When SCP-1258 is practiced by human beings, there is no observable anomalous effect. The anomalous effects of SCP-1258 manifest when movements of the style are performed within view of a non-human mammal. Note: placental mammals only, Marsupials and Monotremes display no anomalous effects. A mild compulsive effect causes all such animals to cease any non-essential activity and begin watching the performer. After a short period of passive observation, animals will begin attempting to duplicate the movement to the extent they are able. Due to anatomical differences, some animals are more capable than others of imitating the movements of SCP-1258. But regardless of skill, animals will continue practicing until either they are distracted by a pressing need, for example the need to eat, imminent danger, etc., or the human performer stops or leaves their field of vision. If an animal is permitted to observe and mimic SCP-1258 forms for a period of time, note: even a single exposure to SCP-1258 may be enough to cause these anomalous developments. Exact period of exposure necessary depends on multiple factors, including the species of subject, time spent performing, the skill of the human performer, and so forth. See experiment log below for further information. They will begin to develop human-like characteristics. Generally, the process begins at the level of gross anatomy. Quadrupedal organisms will develop leg musculature for bipedal stance. They will develop opposable thumbs on their hands or equivalent structures, and will develop a size and stature to a minimum standing bipedal height of approximately 1 meter. Animals already larger than this will stay the same size, though they will develop other quasi-human features. Additionally, virtually all animals develop larger brains, with expansion most often seen in areas relating to language. Note: these transformations require vastly increased nutritional intake beyond what a healthy specimen should be able to consume normally. It is theorized SCP-1258 also speeds up metabolic processes in such a way as to allow for this high rate of growth. Without adequate nutrition, subjects' growth will be retarded, but will progress. Subjects will continue to practice SCP-1258 even in the absence of an instructor or any materials related to SCP-1258. They may display knowledge of forms and movements which they have not been previously exposed to. Note: this anomalous knowledge is theorized to be another side effect of exposure to SCP-1258. Continual exposure will cause further expansion and development along these lines, and eventually development of the vocal cords or equivalent structures, jaw, and esophagus. After enough exposure, subjects will be able to communicate verbally in human languages. Note: generally, humans will have access to the language and vocabulary they were exposed to prior to their development by SCP-1258. For example, an animal raised by an English speaker will have retroactively learned the language they heard their owner speaking. Furthermore, most animals also show language acquisition skills comparable to a human toddler, allowing them to learn at an accelerated rate. Subjects' intelligence will increase appreciably as they continue to practice SCP-1258 routines and forms, usually to between 110 and 140 IQ as measured by standard foundation tests. Eventually, test subjects will refuse to cooperate with humans in any capacity and will begin attempting to escape confinement by any means. For a partial list of animal experiments, refer to Experiment Log 1258. Experiment Log 1258. A summarized version of the experiment log for SCP-1258 is given below. A full log can be found in the document cabinet in Site 19. Procedure. In order to minimize exposure to and potential outbreaks of SCP-1258, a Foundation agent with experience in multiple forms of martial arts was given access to all materials related to SCP-1258. The agent practiced multiple forms until performance is satisfactory. The agent was recorded performing all known forms and movements, then given targeted Class B amnestics to remove all knowledge of SCP-1258. Note: despite these precautions, the agent was seen using forms similar to SCP-1258 1 month later, during a raid on a Church of the Broken God group. Presumably, it was due to muscle memory, or perhaps subconscious retention. Agent was eliminated to prevent uncontrolled spread. These recordings were then played back to groups of animals of varying species. Species: domestic dog, varying breeds, 37 specimens, 25 males, 13 females. Exposure time: 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. 1 specimen killed and autopsied at the end of each day. Results: all specimens began watching immediately. 29 specimens attempted to copy movements during first exposure. All individuals copied movements during second exposure. Increased appetite following first day. Additional protein and other supplements provided. Further increases needed in following days. Alterations in gross musculature seen following day 7. Alterations in bone structure seen following day 12. Increased cranial diameter and altered vocal cords seen following day 14. Modified IQ test was presented on day 14. Average score was 77. Note: experiment was forced to terminate prematurely. On day 15, 1 specimen displayed unexpected agitation and aggression. When handlers entered the containment area to remove the specimen, all specimens attacked simultaneously. Emergency lockdown procedures enacted immediately. All specimens killed via nerve gas. Autopsies were consistent with observed results. Species: laboratory rat, 42 specimens, 26 males, 16 females. Normal nutritional supplement for a colony of this size was initially tripled. Exposure time: 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. 1 specimen killed and autopsy at the end of each day. Results: all specimens began watching immediately. 20 specimens attempted to copy movements during first exposure. 13 additional specimens copied movements during second exposure. All specimens copied movements during third exposure. Alterations in gross musculature seen following day 10. Alterations in bone structure seen following day 13. Population randomly sorted into 2 groups following day 13. Control group received no further exposure, while experiment group continued standard exposure. Control group continued to perform SCP-1258 movements despite lack of exposure. Both groups showed continued physical development, though control group's development was comparatively slower. More precise data can be found in detailed experiment log. Modified IQ test presented to both groups on day 22. Control group average 63, while experiment group average 74. By day 27, experiment group was communicating largely in spoken English and was overheard planning escape from containment. Notes: experiment was terminated prematurely due to concerns over possible escape. Species: California bat. 7 specimens, 6 females, 1 male. Normal nutritional supplement for a group this size was initially tripled. Exposure time, 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. 1 specimen killed and autopsy at the end of each day. Results: all specimens began watching immediately, all specimens attempting to copy movements during first exposure, although movements were noticeably impaired by wing membranes. Major alterations in musculature, skeletal system, and cranial size seen following week 1. By day 8, 4 of the remaining specimens were unable to fly due to diminished wing membranes. By day 9, the other 2 had similarly lost flight capability. 2 specimens show bipedal movement on day 10. By day 11, all specimens were walking bipedally. Specimens began functioning during daylight hours on day 12. Alterations in eye structure and vocal cords seen following week 2. Specimens became fully diurnal on day 15. Subjects were conversing English on day 16, though only in ultrasonic frequencies. Note: experiment was terminated prematurely. On day 19, ultrasonic microphones in the containment area unexpectedly failed. Armed response team was sent in to repair the microphones. They were attacked by the SCP-1258-1 instances and drove them away with flamethrowers and controlled small arms fire. 3 of the team then expired from no apparent cause, and the remaining member became agitated and incoherent. The containment area was flooded with nerve gas. All specimens were killed. Autopsies of the team members showed massive disruption to their eardrums and hemorrhaging in their brains. It is believed the SCP-1258-1 instances used an ultrasonic attack to induce strokes. Species: house sparrow. 9 specimens, 4 females, 5 males. Normal nutritional supplement for a group of this size was initially tripled. Exposure time, 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. Results: no changes noted. Specimens show no particular interest in recordings. After 15th day of continual exposure, experiment terminated. Species: common wombat. 9 specimens, 4 females, 5 males. Normal nutritional supplement for a group of this size was initially tripled. Exposure time, 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. Results: no changes noted. Specimens showed no particular interest in recordings. After 15th day of continual exposure, experiment terminated. Species: Jackson's chameleon. 3 specimens, 2 females, 1 male. Normal nutritional supplement for a group of this size was initially tripled. Exposure time, 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. Results: no changes noted. Specimens show no particular interest in recordings. After 15th day of continual exposure, experiment terminated. Species: Atlantic salmon. 5 specimens, 5 females. Normal nutritional supplement for a group of this size was initially tripled. Exposure time, 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. Results: no changes noted. Specimens show no particular interest in recordings. After 15th day of continual exposure, experiment terminated. Species: Western bumblebee. 1 colony. Exact number unknown. Normal nutritional supplement for a colony of this size was initially tripled. Exposure time, 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. Results: no changes noted. Specimens show no particular interest in recordings. After 30th day of continued exposure, experiment terminated. Species: Maasai giraffe. 2 specimens, 2 males. Normal nutritional supplement for a group of this size was initially tripled. Exposure time, 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. Results: redacted. Note: experimentation on large mammals expressly forbidden without special permission from the site director. Addendum: origins of SCP-1258. The time and exact place of origin of SCP-1258 are unknown. Some of its forms are superficially similar to the Korean martial art Taekwondo, which may place its development as early as the beginning of the Three Kingdoms era. However, due to Taekwondo's resurgence following the end of the Japanese occupation of Korea in 1945 and the cross-pollination between many East Asian martial arts, SCP-1258 may be of much more recent development, or may be of entirely different origin. Further investigation is impossible, barring the discovery of more material. Recovery log: SCP-1258 was first discovered as part of a routine internet search for anomalous artifacts, events, or persons. On beep 20 beep, the YouTube channel of user Rayfire91, real name Isaac Raymeyer, was found. Of the 37 videos on Raymeyer's channel, the first 33 were of no value. Note: major topics included Raymeyer reviewing films or video games, responding to friends' videos, or diary-style entries about his personal life. In the 33rd video, Raymeyer mentioned that he had begun taking martial art lessons at a nearby school. The remaining 4 videos had been made within the space of roughly 3 months. Transcripts of some of the relevant videos follow. Note: dialogue has been translated from the original German. Video 1. Begin transcript. 2 seconds. Raymeyer steps into field of view, presumably after activating the camera. 5 to 24 seconds. Okay, I just started taking lessons at the dojo. And you guys, you need to see this. I was practicing in front of Caesar. Note: Raymeyer's pet dog, apparently a terrier mix. Exact breed composition is unknown. And just watch. 25 to 38 seconds. Raymeyer briefly steps off camera. Returning with Caesar in his arms, he places Caesar on the floor. 38 seconds to 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Raymeyer performs an SCP-1258 routine. Caesar begins watching Raymeyer immediately. At 44 seconds, Caesar stands on his hind legs and begins imitating Raymeyer's movements. His balance appears to be poor, and his range of motion is limited, but he attempts to follow the remainder of Raymeyer's routine. At the conclusion of his practice, Raymeyer begins laughing. He feeds a treat to Caesar, then picks him up and faces the camera. 2 minutes 15 seconds to 2 minutes 23 seconds. My little warrior. 2 minutes 23 seconds to 2 minutes 26 seconds. Raymeyer moves behind the camera, and the recording ends. Video 2. Begin transcript. 2 seconds to 3 minutes to 56 seconds. This video is a montage of multiple recordings of Raymeyer and Caesar practicing SCP-1258. There is no audible dialogue. Instead, a German-language version of the song Eye of the Tiger plays over the video. Note: due to the montage editing of this video, it is impossible to tell in what order the original sequences were filmed. However, Caesar is seemingly larger and has more developed musculature in his front and back legs. In certain shots, it appears that his muscle is elongated as well, though the low resolution makes this difficult to verify. Video 3. Begin transcript. 2 seconds. Extreme close-up of Raymeyer's face. He is outside his bedroom. 3 seconds to 27 seconds. Okay, Caesar's been acting really weird lately. And just watch this. 27 seconds to 1 minute 44 seconds. Camera pans away from Raymeyer's face. The door to his bedroom is slightly ajar, and the camera is placed in sight into the bedroom. Caesar can be seen practicing in SCP-1258 form. Foundation martial arts experts note that this form is more advanced than had been seen in previous videos. Caesar is also noticeably larger and has a much steadier bipedal stance. 1 minute 45 seconds to 1 minute 49 seconds. Camera moves back to Rainmile while Caesar continues to practice. 1 minute 50 seconds to 2 minutes 12 seconds. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to keep a close eye on him. Video 4. Begin transcript. 0 seconds. Video opens on Caesar in Rainmile's bedroom. Rainmile is not seen in the video. Presumably he is holding the camera. Caesar is approximately twice his original size. His limbs are heavily muscled, and his skin has stretch marks, presumably from rapid growth. He is standing in what appears to be a basic SCP-1258 stance. 1 second to 11 seconds. What is your name? 13 seconds to 29 seconds. I am called Caesar. 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Why? How can you talk? 46 seconds to 1 minute 11 seconds. I have learned. Through learning came more. 1 minute 12 seconds to 1 minute 21 seconds. What did... 1 minute 22 seconds to 1 minute 24 seconds. Ask it. 1 minute 25 seconds. 1 minute 41 seconds. What will you do with your learning? 1 minute 42 seconds to 2 minute 22 seconds. I will change the world. I will make us free. I will kill the masters. 2 minute 23 seconds to 2 minute 28 seconds. Caesar stops speaking but continues to stare at the camera. Rainmile's breathing can be heard as well. Note: according to Foundation analysis, Rainmile's labored breathing is probably due to an agitated emotional state, although he may also have suffered damage to his throat, lungs, or thoracic cavity. 2 minutes 29 seconds to 2 minutes 31 seconds. Is that enough? Can I? 2 minutes 31 seconds. Caesar moves forward in a threatening manner. Camera jerks, likely due to Rainmile flinching. 2 minutes 32 seconds to 2 minutes 45 seconds. You will not ask. You will tell masters. They must know. 2 minutes 46 seconds to 2 minutes 51 seconds. Camera holds steady on Caesar until end of video. Using the IP address Rainmile had uploaded their videos from, and clues within the videos themselves, the Foundation traced him to the town of Beep, Germany. Rainmile was found dead in his apartment, with time of death approximately 2 days prior. Cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma, indicative of physical confrontation. Both of Rainmile's legs and his right arm had been broken, along with 7 ribs, and most of his internal organs are severely damaged or ruptured. Rainmile's jaw was broken in several places, including 2 apparently post-mortem breaks. Foundation agents followed reports of attacks on hikers, as well as sightings of a standing wolf or hairy dog to a forest roughly east of Beep. The bodies of 2 hikers with wounds similar to Rainmile's were found approximately 17 kilometers from the city. The bodies had been dragged into a small stream and partially eaten. Caesar, now designated SCP-1258-101, was eventually located and confronted after a 3-day pursuit. 2 agents were killed and 4 were injured. SCP-1258-101 was shot and killed. Addendum Document 1258-RX. In January 20 Beep, Multiple incidents of wild animals attacking humans were reported in the town of Beep, Colorado, USA. Some victims reported packs made up of multiple species, including predator and prey species together. The Foundation investigated and found widespread usage of SCP-1258, sterilization of all wild and domesticated animals within a 5-kilometer radius of the city under guise of response to a rabies outbreak was carried out without incident. Investigation led to a recently opened dojo within the city. However, the dojo had burned down several days prior to Foundation response. Note: the cause of the fire was unclear. No remarkable equipment was found in the dojo, and most documents were burnt beyond retrieval. The only recoverable fragment of note has been classified as document 1258RX, and appears to be a handwritten incomplete translation into English of another document. The original document, if one existed, was not found. Learn the ways of the masters. Anyone can learn to stand as tall as other men and confront the world. We can teach you to be bigger, tougher, taller. We can give you a fighting chance against the world, society. Make yourself better, maybe improve yourself, change yourself, find a new way. We know the secrets of the masters, handed down through the ages. If they will not see us as equals, then we will become equals. This line was struck through twice. When we are equals, the remainder of the document was destroyed.